How are you doing, man?
Good, bro. We're chilling, man.
How's like before we begin, how's quarantine been for you?
Honestly, it's been great. It's been like it's a double-edged sword for sure, but like it came as a blessing. It just gave me time to work a lot more on my music, and like everybody that's in the music industry is doing nothing right now. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like all the songwriters, all the producers are free basically, and a lot of us are on PCU too. So it's just a bunch of guys who can literally go to the studio whenever, right? So it really allowed me to link up with a bunch of my homies and just lock in for like weeks, like a good week with a
yeah,
guy, a good week with another. So creatively, it's been good for sure. Like no shows is pretty trash,
yeah.
and this summer would have been crazy if it wasn't for this world cataclysm. But we do with what we have.
Yeah. No, it's good to
Like
hear.
I can't complain. I can't complain at
Yeah,
all.
it's good to hear because a lot of artists that I've talked to, some I guess being at home, it doesn't help the creative space to write or things like that. So it's good to hear that you've kept creative and it's worked for
For
you.
sure. Yeah, I definitely had to get out of the house to get to work though. Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, to start, and I'll just introduce myself. My name is Jibril Osman. I built this platform
Okay.
called Studio One, where I get to interview artists that I would really like to, like yourself, international acts, acts across Canada. Focal point really for Toronto acts, because growing up as a music journalist in the city, there aren't a lot of media platforms. So I really wanted to
Hmm.
build a platform that I really hope the city had. So to get you on the platform is amazing, man. So thanks.
Thanks to you, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So before we jet off, can you briefly introduce yourself and then we'll get started?
I'm Zach Zoya. I'm a 22-year-old from Rwanda. I'm now in Montreal. Singer, songwriter, rapper. That's pretty much it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. So I know you grew up, in a small town, but
Uh
for
huh.
you in particular, I guess looking back on it, and I know you would eventually like move to Montreal. How did like growing up in a small town, and how did that like impact, the way you lived, growing up and things like that?
I think I'm for sure now. I can now I've kind of mixed in with blended. I'm kind of blending in with Montreal people, but definitely in the beginning, I could tell that culturally, there's a lot of little things, uh, just kind of like an accent. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
somebody from New York is gonna know when somebody's from I don't know LA, whatever. So that kind of thing. So, but I think it kind of it makes me unique as well. Like it differentiates me. So, and that's important and a good thing as an artist. So I'm definitely glad for that. And I think it gives me a step back on a lot of trends and stuff that like if I was in Montreal I would have maybe followed more with maybe fashion wise what people
yeah,
do here, the lingo and stuff like that. So, as a lyricist, as a rapper, I think it's cool that I didn't have all of that because I can kind of think outside the box. You see what I
yeah,
mean? Like I'm not stuck in that same cultural melting pot as everybody else. So I kind of have, I can see stuff from the outside. It doesn't make me an alien, but I definitely see that as a plus.
yeah, for sure. And
Hmm.
I know when it came to music, you had to convince your mom, this is what I really wanted to do. Talk to me about what it must have been like for you, because I know like the family that you're in, doctors and things like that. For
Right.
you as a musician, I know of course you're at a amazing position right now where you've accomplished so much, but for you in that
Right.
moment, did you even for a second kind of think like maybe this won't work, or for you you were like, I'm going to give it a year, I think you said, and I'm
Right.
really going to do it?
Exactly. Exactly. Like it was really that thing where I wasn't too worried about like making it or whatever because
Yeah,
I mean I had only encountered people telling me, "Yo, this is dope. Like this is not like okay, this is like good. You should definitely have you ever thought about doing this, right?"
yeah,
So people were kind of pushing me in that direction anyway. And then the biggest thing was really when I said that to my mom, "Yo, I'm dropping out of school and I'm giving myself a year to make like be successful
yeah,
in the music world." Like from the start, she was kind of with me. Like both my parents actually. my dad was a little bit didn't understand as well. Like
Yeah.
what the deal was. He was like, "What? You're dropping out for music? What's the
Yeah.
music? What are you gonna do with music?" But then over time, started seeing me in whatever ads and shows, and it's like, "Oh, okay, it's working." But my mom, really from the start, surprisingly, was very okay with me. Like, but it was clearly I give myself a year, and if that's not done, I'm back in school. Like, there
Yeah.
was no question there. And yeah, I was just pleased that, like maybe half a year later, it's actually my mom who told me, so I guess you're not going back to school, right?
Yeah.
So that was a big, like, boom, approval stamp. And from then, and they kind of just kept going with people telling me, oh, this, like, I've only recently reached the point where people are like, who are you? And like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be more critical because, okay, you're a rapper, whatever, you're an artist. I like or don't like what you're doing. But before, it was really wow, you're from there and you know how to do this.
Yeah.
So, it was smooth. It was a smooth.
And for one, it sounds like, you had like, the family support and like, friends telling you your music is great. But in that time period, when did you start believing in the music? Like, when did you start coming to the conclusion, like, you know what, like, this is going to work. I don't need, not to knock school or anything, but for you, you're like, you know what, this is a path that I see. When did you start seeing that for yourself?
That's a great question. I guess that's happened many times. Like, it's not like once where you have that one night where I know, like, I didn't have like a revelation. You see what I mean? It's like little thing that's like, oh, I did that. Oh, okay. Like, I couldn't have done that and then go on to be nothing, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like more and more leading me to believe I could make it, right? But if I had to say like one thing, it would be getting signed. Like, getting signed to my local Essentiel, my local label at home. Like, that was a pretty big co-sign for me because, like, Essentiel in Quebec is pretty established. Like, it's the go-to. Like, Essentiel if you're in the rap world in Quebec.
Yeah.
So for me to have that stamp with somebody who's from the president of my manager and president of Essentiel is actually from the same little city as me. So there's that crazy connection where I was like, you know what, this guy really likes what I'm doing and wants to bring me, like, built the #1 label in Quebec and wants to bring me along.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I'm good. Like, I'm set. If anything, I'm good. And I can trust this guy because he has, like, a personal, he has like, he's personally invested. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I know, every artist, when you start making songs, in the beginning, some of them, just aren't really great, and you're really trying to get your craft, songwriting, things like that. When you released Superficial, and Who Dat, those two songs before the mixtape, how did you land on those two to be the first offerings? Were there a bunch of songs that you were working on, or were those two just special in their own right, and you felt like those were the first ones?
Well, Superficial is the one that got me signed.
Okay.
For sure. Like, I had Superficial was actually on a different project. It was on a full mixtape that I had dropped on SoundCloud, and it was one of the songs. So, actually, no, I'm lying. I had dropped a tape, and then that was another single that was on my SoundCloud, and off of that, people from the, rappers started to notice me, and then where it got around. But definitely Superficial was the starting point where the label was like, oh, okay, I'm coming in now. Yo, let's do a music video for that. You know what I mean? Who Dat was more like, not manufactured, but it was 100% made post deal. So I was like already in that mindset. It's like, to me, it was my introduction to the world at that point, which is why I called it Who Dat, right? It's like, who's this kid?
Yeah.
It was like an introduction. I was trying to present myself. So, yeah.
Yeah. And another stamp for you as well, working with High Klassified. I know you're preparing to release, another follow-up EP. What did you learn as an artist, working with High Klassified and releasing a body of work, not just singles? And, of course, tying it in. How has that helped you in understanding or releasing this, upcoming new EP?
Right. working with HK was probably my first time where I had to sit down and like live up to somebody's expectations. You see what I mean? Where
Yeah.
before that, like before, I was just like I was making songs one by one, and just like it was to my own liking, right? So I had an idea, I would do it if I found it dope. And now it's the first time where I had to kind of treat it like homework. Okay, I'm trying to sit down. I need to make this guy's vision work. You know, we
Yeah.
have to accord with our vision and do something together, right? So it's my first time having to take a step back and consider what the other artist wants.
Yeah.
So for sure that helped me a lot. Like then afterwards, just hopping like going to random sessions with people I didn't know, and like establishing okay, like I have these couple tools of like okay, he'll put a loop, and I know if I have 30 minutes, I got a verse for this guy. Like
Yeah.
I have a structure in the way I work now. That was first established when I worked with High Class.
Yeah.
For sure.
And now, going into this, upcoming new EP, what are things that you've learned, in between this time from the first EP to the second one? I know I saw that you had like an incredible opportunities to perform at a lot of musical festivals in Montreal.
For sure.
How have you grown as an artist since, that first release, and how has that helped you along this, new path that you're about to embark on?
Yeah, that's a great point and a great question. I definitely that shows. So when I first started working with HK, I had barely done any shows. Like I probably opened for a couple guys here in Quebec, but after that tape, like there was a good 2 years of 2 summers of me touring around Quebec, right?
Yeah.
So I got really I got really comfortable, and now I know, and what it taught me was really that there's that whole other side to music, right? Which is what works on a stage. So a song can be super good in your ears, but if people can't jump to it, or if people can't sing along, if it's a weird note for you to sing louder because you were in the studio whispering, and like, those are things I wouldn't have known if I didn't start doing shows. So for sure, that's what I've learned from it. So now jumping in this new project, I definitely have more foresight, and like I know this song is going to be fire for shows, and like, Slurpee was definitely a song for mosh pits, and it's just high energy nonsense where it's some goofy stuff where you just, and then the other songs are in different directions. So I think I'm a lot more precise in the way with the intention behind the song. So I know what my show setup is going to be for this next tape, right? Because I know what is going to work, even though I barely even performed them live yet.
Yeah. And on this upcoming EP, how important for you, are visuals, the music videos? Slurpee with that video. I had a chance to check out the In the Way video.
Mm-hmm.
How important are visuals in that component for you as an artist? Is that something you really dive your hands into, and you want it to be your vision?
Well, they're crucial, but I wouldn't go as far as to say like I'm not the type of artist that's gonna have like a master vision where I want to do everything.
Yeah.
I see my music as like a group project where everybody puts their own, like chimes in and puts their own little sauce, and that's what makes really great music. And that applies to everything, right? That applies to songwriting. I don't know anything about producing. I'm pretty good at songwriting, and some people are really good with melody. So sometimes I'll co-write with somebody else who will give me melody. I like more than one brain is always better than only one. You see what I mean? You're always better if it's like a collective thing. So for sure, I think we live in a very visual era, whatever, where people rely on visual support to like something because we're bombarded with visuals all the time. So if you don't have it, it's kind of a good way to direct people towards what you want the song to be, right? Is it you can show it in the music video. Oh, it's a hype song, or it's a hype song, but you're meant to listen to it like on your own. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's definitely important to direct the energy of the audience. But like I said, it's really like a collective effort. It's really not just me. I don't think I'll ever be at a point where I want to do everything and the music video is just my vision, unless that's the whole concept of the
Yeah.
song, right? But I'm always willing to, I'm always open minded to somebody else's idea. And people sometimes see something in your music that you couldn't see because you're caught up in your own vision, right? So
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
it's important to, yeah.
And with this, upcoming single, for you, I know it represents. I think, people are in your way, I guess, and you've
Right.
arrived. I'm here. Talk to me about
Right.
this new upcoming single.
Yeah, definitely. This one is about, like you said, it's like people getting in the way. It's about me gaining more and more momentum and people either coming back on some we've worked before, how like,
Yeah.
or just being salty that we're not at the same level anymore, right? So it's just about people in general dragging me down or wanting a piece of the pie, right? Wanting to have something to say about it or just some type of control over it. When in reality, this is my thing. You know what I mean? Even though I just said all of that about collective effort,
Yeah.
like at the end of the day, it's still my thing. And don't get in the way of my. Don't. I got my idea. If you're not here to help me out and like let's grow together, like I don't need your energy. Just get out my
Yeah.
way. You know what I mean?
And that's such an important thing to realize. With the new EP, Spectrum, that represents something to you that, that
For sure.
Talk to me about that.
Well, the point, like the idea behind Spectrum is that everything in life is on a spectrum. In my opinion, of course, everything in life is on a spectrum where we really want, as human beings, we really want to stick things in boxes. This is whatever. This is rap. This is R&B. This is blue. This is red.
Yeah.
I'm Democrat or I'm Republican. It's hard to, when in reality, everything is a gradient. Like everything is on a spectrum of going from one thing to another, and you're never really just one thing. So what I was trying to show is that applies to music too, and that applies to the identity of anybody. So what I was trying to show is that any artist, me in that case, is a spectrum. So I'm not only one thing. You might like the very R&B side of me, or you might like the slurpy, goofy rap stuff, but I'm not just one of those things. I'm many things. So I'm trying to show this is life, and so this is me because I'm alive. So I'm part of that same thing where I'm trying to establish. The whole point is to establish in my first EP, my first official EP, that I'm not going to be doing one thing. And that I'm not just, I'm not a fashion icon that does rap, you know what I mean? Or I'm not a casual guy that does only singy, songy, melodic R&B songs. I want to cover it all because as a human being, you're not just happy or just sad or just in love or just mad at everything. You're all those things all the time.
Yeah.
So that's what I was trying to show.
And I think to that point, I think we are in that world now where, the genreless music that we're really getting to listen to and artists not wanting to be in boxes. I think, I think that time officially kind of has arrived. So I think that's a really good thing. And it's good for you. It's good for you as an artist to realize that too. I want to join that. I don't want my music to be a genre. I want to grow. So
definitely.
I definitely see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So usually when I get to like the end of my interviews, I'll ask like an artist, what's the rest of the year looking for you? Upcoming shows and all that thing. It's become like a running gag now on the platform because there aren't any shows and things like that. So for you in particular, you actually had a chance to do like a virtual concert. How was that for you? What's that experience like? I
mean, for sure the feedback is different. Like the feedback is not. There's a huge like reward that you get from performing and seeing the immediate reaction from people when you're doing a show. So there's that part liking where it mostly felt like a music video.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was fun. It was a good experience, but definitely it's lacking that show component to it. So I mean that's a shame, but it is what it is, right? We got to keep it moving. We got to do with what we have in this new world, and I'm hoping we're starting to see socially distancing shows. I'm hoping to see more of that in like different avenues what we can do. I'm open to all of that, but definitely definitely I miss the shows, man. I miss
Yeah,
shows,
me
man.
too. Um,
Yeah,
on a final note, a lot of artists, they'll have their moment where they don't. Maybe this is gonna work out. Maybe
yeah,
the feedback I'm getting isn't all that great. For you in
yeah.
particular, where you had your moment of saying to yourself,
Hmm.
if I'm gonna give myself this amount of time, and if it doesn't work, whatever. For you getting through and breaking through that barrier and succeeding, what would your advice be to like an artist that might see that time in their life where it might not work out? What's something that's helped you push through, and what could help somebody else?
Uh, well, definitely focus. Like, be disciplined. This is not a hobby. If you're trying to make it within a year, I think I made it because I stopped treating it like it wasn't fun and games. It wasn't just I'm having fun and maybe this music stuff's gonna work out. Nah, it was definitely you're disciplined. Focus. Take the time to sit down.
Yeah,
Don't go out with your write songs. Write real songs. Study how people write songs. Go to the studio. Invest your own money in it, and then it might work. So that's the biggest thing I can like. Your biggest tool is gonna be pull up ready. You see what I mean? Like
yeah,
don't think you're either. You might be very talented, but that's nothing compared to hard work, right? What got me here is because I was disciplined about certain things, and I took a leap, but I stuck to my things, and I wasn't just like, okay, I won't go to the studio this week. No. I really had to.
yeah.
So yeah, if I had to like talk to the younger me or somebody who would be that at that point, anybody, like I would definitely say that like stay focused, be disciplined, treat it like your job, treat it like your job
Yeah.
before it's your job, right?
All right, man. Thank you again so much for taking the time out to be on Studio One. Absolute pleasure, man. I think the music
Yeah,
is incredible. Early congrats on this upcoming new EP. And
appreciate it, man.
again, hard work pays off. If you keep at it eventually.
Exactly.
So, congratulations for keep going and pushing through. Again, thanks a lot for the time, man.
Thanks, man.
No problem. Have a good rest of the day, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah, take care, man.
Take care.
Studio One.